Pastel Squad. Today, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to draw a swan. This is one of my first videos and I'm really excited for this. So yeah, let's get straight into it. I'm using Autodesk Sketchbook. And Autodesk Sketchbook is a pretty good site, so I recommend you use it. I'm right now clicking towards the toolbar. So I'm going to be taking the toolbar and making it a black color. As you can see, there are layers. Your first layer, the layer that's automatically there, you want that in black. I'm pointing there. Now, the layer I recently current is having an arrow. Well, it's actually a layer arrow, so that's pretty correct. Now, the next thing I'm going to be doing is going to my toolbar color. So as you can see, I'm right now on my first layer and now my second layer. You want to go to your automatically there layer. You want to go and turn it into black. That's what I do. You can do red, green, but the layer on the bottom should be what you think is going to be, not always there. Red. So you want to go to red and black, and you want to mark your first layer. I went to my second layer that I recently created and put a green color. Okay, now you can see both of these layers are marked. That's perfect because that's what we need for this project. So the second thing that you are going to be doing is going to your layer on the bottom. You want to be taking a ruler. That will be on the top side. In the upper left corner, you are going to be pinching your paper just enough, just right for your drawing. Now you're going to take on the upper right corner, which you can't see because it's kind of hard to see, but you're going to take it up on the upper right corner and taking your ruler. Okay, now let's do a little demo. There. Now that we have a little thing in mind on how to do it, let's take our ruler back again. You're going to take your ruler and go to the color bar. Make sure to take your ruler and go to the color bar, or then it won't register. Going to the color bar, now you want to draw along the ruler. Remember, again, go with the color bar, or then the ruler won't register. Now that you have gone along with the color bar, you want to draw along the ruler. Going along the ruler and make big wide lines. It's not going to be how big a swan is. It's going to be how dimensional your swan is. Make a one slight line and make sure that the line over there is precise. Now extend that line. Match it and extend. The next thing you're going to be doing is taking up your circular ruler right over here. After taking your circular ruler, as you can see, I am matching it to kind of make it a Z. That's right, a Z. This Z is really, as you can see, a very swan-like shape. Or maybe you can't see it, but don't worry, you will be able to see it. I'm going to be taking a color, black, but I'm going to be doing on the second layer. Make sure not to do these both on the same layer. After going on the second layer, I'm going to be using the lines, what I like to call is actually my line sketch. Line sketches help me, make it proportionate, and I do help them. So, after going on the second one, you do want to take your ruler back again and move your paper instead. When you move your paper, you are kind of seeing how well does your proportionate lines go with your actual swan shape in mind. If you don't have a shape in mind, again, repeat the very first steps. Draw a random swan shape. If you don't even know how to do that, that's totally okay. You can still go with the steps we're right now on. Open your toolbar. Go to your toolbar and click zoom in. After you've clicked to zoom in and lock, you should be able to start getting on your project. Now, let's take the ruler and now let's make second lines. These lines are going to be even more important because these lines will help you just get your swan right. As you can see, we now have actually we have 5 different lines. 5 different lines, and some are not connecting with each other, but that's okay because now we all know, how many lines there are. Now first try drawing the head of your swan and make sure it touches, but it has to go really high. So here's a bad version. Now that I've drawn the more versions that you aren't going to be doing, I'm now going to start drawing the versions that you should be doing. As you can see here, I have drawn the swan with its upper corner or its upper head going over the line. That's what it should be. Now the line that you drew that went over and the one that made it look like a Z, that is where your tail should touch. Now you can see why it looked like a Z shape. Now you want to start actually drawing the outlines of your. As you can see, I am making sure that my pen works because your pens will sometimes switch layers if it thinks so. That's okay. I'm going to be drawing the line. I'm going to be drawing the eye just right under the line in the middle. After you draw your line right under the middle, you're going to be taking your toolbar and make it the color of the eye you want. After you make it black in that color. So now I want to shade in the top layer. You can make your own type of eyes or you can copy for what I have done. Now I've left some space for a blue light-ish color. I don't want it too blue because I want this cartoony, but I don't want it too dark. Too dark blue and eyes is not that great. You can of course always try that. Now what I like to do is go to white. You can always go to eraser, but that won't help too much. I like to go to white and then add highlights or reflections. Adding reflections will make it more cartoony and more, cartoony looking. More professional like cartoon looking. Now that I have started making the highlights on my eyes, you want to take your black and you want to start making your pupils. As you can see, I've started adding the touches to my pupils. I'm going to, again, kind of make sure that my pen is okay and start adding the eyelashes. Now I'm going to start zooming in with the eyes. The eyes are again really important because they can also help you define your character, your swan. So again, I'm going to be going to orange. I'm going to be going again to my toolbar and now I'll be going to orange. As you can see, what you don't want to do is start going below. You want to make sure that your beak will be touching the actual line itself. This is a pretty good, example. Now, let's actually start going into what we think. So make sure it's not too tiny, but you want to actually make it into a tiny space and add your second small layer. This will help it. Now I'm going to be going to a lighter tangerine orange. If it goes over your first lines, that's okay because you're actually going to be doing that in black. I just like to put orange because it kind of shows me what it will be looking like. Now that I've filled in all of my beak, I'm going to be going to black and again, like I said, going over. If you think your lines are too thick, define your lines thinner, and when you think it's right, start drawing over. This is the first part of the video, so we won't be working on this too much. This is basically the beak. We're going to add some nostrils, but that's pretty much it. After adding your very basic details to your beak, which again, we're not going to be working too much at, you're going to go to the feathers. So the swan of this week is not going to be too detailed. So now you want to draw a mini, what you think is your feathers. And of course, feathers are not completely straight. They're not completely perfect. They're fluffy and, they're very messy, but not really. So now you want to add a gray version of your perfect line. Okay, so my camera recording stopped, so I'm going to restart from this area. You're going to want to draw a gray line base. As you can see, it's kind of like the feathers. Now you want to go on your top layer and you want to try to make it very feather-like. It's not perfect, remember. It shouldn't be because feathers are not straight or perfect. Now, here's a little demo of some water. Seeing this, let's actually draw the water now. And remember, the water that we're going to be drawing is not going to be the actual water. So after drawing some feathers of yours and add some gray lines to make a base, again, always make bases and make them on the second layer so you can always delete that layer. After doing them on the both second base, what I'm going to be doing is deleting the second layer, hiding it, and now deleting it. Now that we're back on the first layer, take your white and, clean. Why do I take white instead of erase, you might be asking? Because it's more final detail. So yeah, okay. Now that we have a new layer, make sure to add a new layer when you're adding water. You can always merge layers in Autodesk Sketchbook, so don't worry. And it does sound weird, but with it changed in the middle of the video. I'm sorry for that. It won't be happening again. But now I'm going to be drawing some random waters. And these waters are totally not going to be the waters. In part 2 of how to draw a swan, we will be working on the waters and the actual swan itself. Alright, so I'm going to be messing around with the water palettes, like the water pens, not even the water pens, the pens. So you should be also messing around with the pens. And I have blurred out something because that's where my real name was. So I did blur that out a bit. That's okay. And I'm going to be now drawing a little bit of random water. So this water is totally not going to be the water that's going to happen because it's so messy. It's just to show you what we have so far. So now then we're going to add textures, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. And subscribe for part 2 of how to draw a swan. See you all guys next time. Bye, Pastel Squad!